Hey, so this is take two. I didn't realize I flipped the camera around, and you would have been like doing barrel rolls or whatever. Um, Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're at. It's late afternoon here at my house. I'm working on the truck today. I got a move bump that I'm working on, putting it on the front of the truck. Um, so I bought this bumper first part of the year. Had some little bit of money to put into my truck, and I got some rims, and I wanted to do something with the front, and I kind of tweaked the bumper a little bit accidentally when I was going through the coffee thing, and so I needed to do something with it anyway. I figured, well, if I'm going to have it off, I'm going to make a nice bumper. So I found this company online. It's called Move Bumpers, not affiliated or not sponsored or anything. And I got the bumper, and it sat in my garage for I don't know, a good 3-4 months before I got to it, because we had a bunch of other stuff to do. Anyway, when I did everything that they wanted me to do, they want you to tack the bumper together while it's on the truck. So you take all your old stuff off, and then you mount this one with the center line, and get your gapioses correct, and kind of set it up. And they had these 4 little brackets that they sent me, 2 for the top, 2 for the bottom, and I did what they said. I didn't like the way they were sitting and the way they were holding, and I know they're probably fine, but the aircraft mechanic in me was just like, there's got to be a better way to do this. This just doesn't look right, So I looked at it, contemplated with it. It sat out here. Well, it's mid-August. We had a little bit of rain this weekend, and we're forecasting to get a bunch of rain this coming week. And I'm not going to ride my motorcycle in the rain. I mean, I could, but I really don't like it. I've done that before, and I know my limits. And besides, my front tire needs to be changed on the Honda. The Harley isn't ready to ride, and it's not fun riding in the rain, especially first thing in the morning, and then you're wet the rest of the day. Screw that. Anyway, so I got to do something with the truck. Got to figure out how to bumper, get it mounted. So I was walking past the OEM bumper sitting in the lawn, and I looked at the front brackets, and I'm like, hey, I wonder if I could make those work somehow. So I kind of went through my head, trying to plan it out, but I really couldn't see it. I mean, it was either going to work or it wasn't. And the brackets could be modified, who knows. So anyway, I get the brackets in, or the bumper in this morning, pulled the plastic trim off, pulled the bolts to get the bracket, the bumper mounts off, and bolted them to the truck. Got the move bumper, got it set up there with the floor jack and a tie down strap with some shims. Got it centered, crawled underneath, and I was like, yes, that's awesome. So let me flip you around, and I'll show you exactly what I did. I'll walk around to the front here. So this is the OEM bracket. It was mounted to the frame here and here. These 3 holes, that one, and that one, were bolted to the bumper. And then they had a piece out here in the corner to mount the wings. So this bracket right here just has this one here and this one here that bolts to the frame. And with the gap that was up here, I was like, hey, I wonder if that hole would line up. So this one is actually supposed to be on the top with the L facing down going forward, and welded on the front here just with this little front piece. Well, I didn't really like that, and so I put that up there and the hole lined up right there. Had the perfect, put a C-clamp right here, clamped it on, made sure it was level and even. I bent both sides to make sure that the distance from here to a little bracket on the truck was in the same place, 4.5 inches or whatever. Put a C-clamp on here, put the tie-down strap on there, and then this bottom piece, it just had a little nugget that stuck out here that interfered with this radius. So I cut that off, put that up there, and boom, there she is. And this is supposed to be the bottom bracket anyway, but it's supposed to go from here to like this, and there's a hole that goes there and this hole here. So there was 2 bolts here and then the 1 bolt on the top, and the way they were welded, you'd only have this area here welded and that area there welded, and then the rest would be supported on this whole angle. But now, as you can see, I have this bracket here, it's welded there, have 2 bolts with this OEM bracket and this guy right here. So when you look at it, right there, look at that. Same thing with this one, same way, it's all bolted on there and or welded on there now, but way better, because now it only takes 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the bumper's off, or the bumper's on. The only other thing that I didn't like about this here was this gapiosis here. We need to make a triangle piece of metal that'll go right in here on both sides to kind of close this out, because otherwise you can kind of see under here there's like a big hole. That's the other thing I didn't like about it. But the whole reason for this is I wanted to move the bumper back this way, because with those brackets in there I couldn't get it to move out far enough, because the headlight was overextended here. So it was, the headlight was sticking out here, like, you know, past this split right here where they lasered that for bending. It stuck out, you know, to the front of my finger out to there, and when this guy was even with the wheel well. So I didn't like that. I wanted the headlight at least even right here. So now the way I did these brackets, the headlight sticks right here, right to the edge of that on both ends. And the only thing is that the very end there isn't even with the wheel well, which isn't a big deal, because we can take and add a little piece of metal or a piece of box tubing or something to extend it out. So that's my story. I mean, they make a good product, don't get me wrong. I just didn't like the way they were mounted on there, and it took me a while to figure it out, but I think this way it's a lot better, and it retains the same hardware, and it doesn't a little bit more adjustability, I think. So that's my opinion anyway. And I know there's 1,000 other videos out there, and they even make their own videos, which is great. They do a good job. But as a aircraft mechanic, I was just looking at it, I was like, you know, that just doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't have the structure that you need there. And you don't want it to be so hard when you hit somebody that the energy isn't absorbed. And the way those were, they would probably fail in a crash, and then you'd have this bumper hanging. The way it is now, things will bend, but it won't wreck it won't break welds. if it's done right. So anyway, and the thing about it is too, this is a 2007 Chevy Silverado 1500, which is the first half of 2007. And when I called them and said, hey, you know what, these brackets really don't fit right, and they're like, no, these are the ones that work. And I'm like, I don't like it. It doesn't sit right. Well, you know, hey, that's what we designed it to. And it just, to me, it didn't fit right. So I'm going to send some pictures to them and say, hey guys, you know, check this out. Maybe you might think about this, maybe redesign it a little bit. It's only a few extra steps and it's not a big deal. And they could make some brackets that would fit in there perfectly with some maybe up down adjusting on it. Make it better. That's what it's all about, is improving the design. You know, there's 15 ways to cut bread. I know 2. Somebody else knows the other 13. So anyway, cheers.